All right, let's talk about one of the absolute best and maybe one of the most criminally under-adapted fantasy series out there, Scott Lynch's Gentlemen Bastards. If you've ever craved a story that has the epic world building of a huge fantasy saga, but the smart, snappy dialogue of a heist movie, then you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. So, this is the big hook, right? What do we even mean by that? Well, on one hand, you've got this incredibly deep world full of ancient history, political backstabbing, and some really brutal consequences. But on the other hand, the plot isn't about saving the world. It's about a crew of brilliant thieves pulling off these impossibly clever schemes. It's that blend of huge scale and personal, clever storytelling that makes it just so good. And really, to get this story, you have to start with the city itself. This isn't your typical fantasy kingdom with a few castles. No. Let's talk about Camorr, a city that is absolutely a character in its own way. See, the crazy thing about it is humans didn't build it. Not the important parts of it. The first city is seen in the ruins of this mysterious ancient place. They were around for built impossible structures and then poof, they just disappeared. Yet when you books and the art and the records, nothing but anything. So, picture this, right? Now they get way more dangerous. The streets are crowded, but they're filled with things like demolition shops and those incredible towers you see. They're not safe. They're made of something truly alien. Material that literally sits like this. And it starts to glow with this really beautiful light. And outside, it's called Elderglass. Books describe it as easy, and people used to call it the age of the The sheer scale of this stuff is just mind-boggling. We're talking about 5 massive towers, and the shortest one is still over 400 feet tall. There are these delicate glass bridges called cat bridges stretching over the canals, and even a solid glass cube called the echo hole that's covered in Eldrin writing no one can read. Humans today, they can't do this. They're just living in the shadows of giants. But look, an incredible city is just a backdrop, right? What really makes this series sing is the friendship at its core. And that brings us to the beating heart of the story, Locke Lamora and Jean Tannen. These two are, without a doubt, one of the greatest duos in all of fantasy literature. Locke is the leader, the brains, the strategist. He's a genius at accents, disguises, and plans within plans. But honestly, in Fistfight, he's not much. Jean, though? Jean is the muscle. He's a master fighter with his twin hatchets, the Wicked Sisters. But, and this is so important, he's not just a thug. He's smart, he's well-read, and he's often the one who keeps Locke from going too far. They're two halves of a perfect thieving whole. This one line tells you everything you need to know. Locke is getting beaten down by a much better fighter, and he says this. It's not a brag. It's pure 100% faith in his best friend. That bond is the anchor for the entire series. Okay, so we've got our stage, we've got our stars. Now let's talk about the main event, the heist. The unbelievably elaborate schemes that they just call the con. This all comes from their mentor, a priest named Father Chins. He followed the god of thieves, the crooked warden, and he taught them that real thievery, it's not about what you do with your hands. It's about act, about storytelling, and about getting these scripts in this. You know what's better? Every single evidence boils down to a super three-step plan. First, they bring the test. This can take months, even years. They become someone else entirely. Second, they build the building, creating this fake reality all around their target. And only then, when the trap is absolutely perfect, they strike the final blow. It was brilliant. But instead of this being invisible, it can't help wonder. What would this look like as a movie or a TV show? So that's how we'll find some very fascinating because there's definitely not like this. What's that? This is the part. You need a total. You have to look at the short ones and see if they're ones and what this genius is saying. And he's not supposed to be a story. He's just average man. His whole power is on his performance.
So the fandom has kicked around a lot of names. You see guys like Nicholas Hoult or Taron Egerton because they can transform. Dylan O'Brien gets mentioned for that witty, sarcastic energy. And then you have Tom Hiddleston or Dane DeHaan who could really nail that kind of unhinged brilliance Locke has. It's a tough call, for sure.
All right, but what about his other half, the formidable Jean Tannen? For Jean, you need someone who is physically imposing, totally believable as a terror with two axes, but who can also project intelligence and a deep, quiet loyalty. And for this one, you know, there's a really touching agreement in the fandom. For years, the number one choice, the one everyone seemed to agree on, was the late, great Ray Stevenson. He had the size, he had that gravitas, and he could play both a total bruiser and a deeply loyal friend. While that can't happen now, it just shows you how perfect he would have been. So you've got this amazing world, these unforgettable characters, which leads to the big questions. Where's the rest of the story? And why isn't this a huge TV show already?
Well, first, let's talk about the books. Fans, and I mean fans, have been on the edge of their seats for over a decade waiting for book 4, The Thorn of Emberlane. The anticipation is massive.
Now, the author Scott Lynch has been incredibly open and honest with his readers about this. He's talked about his long-term battles with anxiety, which is a powerful and important thing to share. But the good news, the great news, is that he recently gave an update saying the book is officially back from the fold and new short fiction has come out. So the hope is very, very real that the wait is almost over. And as for a movie or a TV show, well, there are some pretty big hurdles. Just building the city of Camorr with its glowing Elderglass towers with massive bullshit and CGI. The story also jumps about laugh out loud funny, she's shockingly violent, which can lead to much more. Honestly, after what happened with Game of Thrones, a lot of studios are really nervous about pouring millions into a huge fantasy series. Is it finished yet? Like, what doing a smart adjustment? It's a non-listening series. It's a story about a world with secrets, about two friends who gone working, and about some terroristic while we call it factors, the real experience is right there on the page. So the only question left is, are you ready to join the Gentleman Bastards?